Hello guys and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to incorporate detail photos into the titles of your spreads. So detail photos are great, they're really fun to take, they're fun to look at, but you never want them to be the focal point of your spread. That's because in your book you want the focal points of your spreads to mainly be students. So how can you incorporate these beautiful photos into your actual spread? Well, an example of this is incorporating it into the title of your spread. A few examples shown here are from choir, orchestra, and fall musical. So you can use a detail like ropes, a musical instrument at an angle that you haven't shown yet, or maybe even a picture of an actor that you weren't able to get a good picture of on stage, but have a good backstage photo of. Now, when choosing one of these photos to use for this, you want to use something that has the same color scheme as the rest of your spread, and it's just going to look good with all of it when it comes to the colors, but also is visible whenever you're looking at the lettering of it. So whenever you look at how the lettering is, then you should be able to read it whenever it's printed out. So printing out, putting it in different opacities, different contrasts, and different things like that are all things I'm going to talk a little bit about today. So the first thing that you're going to want to do whenever you're working on this is open up your template that you're using, widen the text so that way it is where you want the photo to be, and we're going to look at the size of it and the font size and the font. Now we're going to take a frame for a photo. I'm just going to copy and paste and adjust it to be the size of the title text box. Now, after I adjust it to the right size, I'm going to go into Photoshop and I'm going to create the same size document in Photoshop. And I'm going to put it at a 100 resolution because that's what Jostens Monarch usually likes, is a lower resolution for these, just so it's easier to download. Now, the first thing that we're going to do with this, after making sure that we have everything the right size that we want it to be and the right font, we're going to look at the color of the background of the spread. So this is going to be, so the one that we used here, we're going to use CMYK or whatever it is and adjust all of it so that way the background is the same. Then we're going to select our brush tool and use the color that we just made. Put the brush tool on 5000 and just color the whole background to be that color. That way it just blends easier in the end whenever we're doing everything, and it just looks better on the spread overall. Next, we're going to create a new layer over that one for our text. We're going to put a text box in over the entire thing, and then we're going to type out our club or spread name. Make sure your text in this step matches the text size and font that we looked at earlier on the spread template. And then take the lettering and center it into the box. Then we're just going to delete any extra layers. We're going to merge the visible layers, which is just going to combine that background and that nature layer. Then we're going to create another transparent layer and make it the background. You might have to unlock the base layer to do this. So that's layer 1 and layer 0 at this point. So now we're going to take our fill tool. We're going to select fill clear, just fill clear on where all the letters are, clean it up a little bit. That's just going to give that clear look. Then we're going to adjust the opacity on it a little bit just so we can see where our picture ends up. We're going to adjust this more later on just to make sure we can read the lettering, but for now just make it so you can see the picture that you add. Now when you're adding the photo, you not only want to choose a photo that allows it to match with the rest of the spread and the color sequence and just work with that, but you also want something that doesn't have too light of a color where it blends in with the overshade, or else you won't be able to read the writing. So in the photo that I'm going to show you here, if I were to use something like this for that club, you can see that the gravel is actually a light color similar to that, and I'll zoom in here so you can see that. But the gravel is actually a light color similar to the base color that we used for the shadow effect on there. So to avoid that, you're going to want to choose something that has bright colors, darker colors than what's on there. You don't want something that's lighter or the same shade as that. And you don't want something that has too many light tones in the background. So I'm going to choose this photo for that. We're just going to put it on, and you want to make sure that you are in the lowest layer. Just going to adjust that until you like how it looks. But whenever you're doing this, if the photo is all you can see when you drag it on there, just make sure you're on the right layer. That's something that you can check on during most of these steps, and if you mess up, that's what Command Z is for. Next, you want to select your image layer. After you select it, click Image at the top and Auto Contrast. This is going to deepen up the colors in your image and allow it to be easier to read. Then you're going to select your layer 1 with your wording and adjust the opacity of that layer until you like how it looks, where you can both read it but also tell what the photo is. Now next, we're just going to merge the layers together, and what that's going to do for you is that's just going to squish them all together on top of each other. It's going to make it into one document, which makes it easier to save as a JPEG. It makes it easier for it to talk to the Monarch, because Monarch usually doesn't like very many Photoshop things. So then we're just going to save it as a JPEG, title it however you want, and now you can just add it in to the text box we created earlier, just like you would any other photo, and adjust it as you see fit.